everyone doing today? I'm back, baby. And this room's a mess. I gotta clean this room up one day. But not today. One day, but not today. Because I've been driving too much over the past 2 days. And yesterday was sit on my butt and do nothing day and relax. And then, probably should clean by now. Okay, how's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing? Let me pull up everything there. I did enjoy the vacation. It was nice. It was first big family trip since pre-COVID. So it was needed. It's also the longest I've gone without streaming in almost 2 years. Actually, since October of 2020. So it was like 10 days. I think 10 days was the last time we streamed. It was not last Friday, the Friday before. So it's been a while. And I was almost late because I came down here and I'm like, okay, I have time to stream. And then let's turn the music on. I turned everything on and I'm missing my camera and I can't find my lav. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh wait, I packed everything up in case I were to stream while I was on vacation, which obviously didn't happen. So I brought this printer, the Tronxy X1 or CRUX one. I brought this printer all the way to Quebec and back for no reason. Big brain. The plan was if we had a down day, if it was raining or whatever, I would try doing a stream while up there because we were staying at the in-laws and they have a nice little house outside of a town in Quebec. It's all nice and wooded. They got a couple acres. So I was going to try and do like a stream. The problem was while they did have internet, they had that rural crappy internet that's not Starlink. So we could have maybe squeaked by, but it would have been cutting it in terms of upload. It was like, if I was right next to the router, I was like 5, but like if I went into another room, it was like 2. And if I went outside the house, it was like 1 megabit upload. And yeah, that would have been pushing it a little too much. Consider I normally upload at 18,000 kilobits per second. Yeah. All my printers are still off. This is weird. I got to turn them all back on. This is the first time I've ever turned off like all the printers in this room. Normally they're on all the time, but they're all off and it's weird. I haven't been in the room since the last stream there. Yeah, ExploreNet. They have whatever the Quebec equivalent of ExploreNet is, basically. So yeah, so I'm back. We're gonna unbox this printer today, do a nice little ease back into things. We'll get this guy set up, do some printing. Friday will probably be a wire and chill stream because we got to get this guy back online. We got to replace the wire harness in there because it's broken. And then I'm thinking Saturday we'll play with Toasty and maybe do some Ultim. Maybe. But I've got a kit on the way and it's going to blow your minds. But whenever that shows up, that will take over. So, 30 minutes from Granby. We went to the Granby Zoo. We actually, we stayed near Sherbrooke, not in Sherbrooke. They live in one of the little towns outside of Sherbrooke. But we went to the Granby Zoo. We saw some amidals. The little guy met a gorilla. It was cool. He liked the gorillas and the meerkats and all them. So we did go to the Granby Zoo. Yeah, it was a nice little vacation. We didn't really do anything big. We went to Quebec City for a day. It was just go hang out with some family in another province and kind of just take it easy for a week. It was nice. Long drive though. Did 10 hours on Sunday there driving. They were cute. The aminos were cute. Very cute. So what are we doing today? We're giving away some filament. So if you haven't entered for your chance to win some filament from Polymaker, we give away a spool every stream. It's been a while, I know. But link in the description. Go enter for your chance to win open worldwide. We're going to unbox this printer here. This is the Tronxy however you pronounce it, CRUX 1. It's a cantilever printer in the 180 millimeter cube form factor, KPS3, Prusa Mini. It's a common form factor now, seems to be. And we're going to put it together. It's direct feed. They did send me this printer for review. Words and opinions are my own. I'm not being paid or influenced in any way. What I say is what I say. If you want to get one of these printers or learn more about it, link in the description below. This is it on their site here. So let's see here. So it's 180 cubed, 32-bit TMCs. It's the same as everything. Now it's got, you can take a thumb drive, a U disc. I gotta start calling it that because I'm not used to calling them U discs. We call them thumb drives here, or USB sticks. But I guess the Asian market nomenclature is U disc. I guess I don't know what people in Europe. People in Europe, what do you call thumb drives? Like people. Do I have one? I should have one. Maybe I have one. People in Europe, what is this? What do you call this? Because we call them thumb drives or USB sticks. USB stick. USB stick. Yeah. So I'm assuming U disc is an Asian market name for it, or it's whatever the translation comes out to when they translate it to English. Oh, ooh, we missed one. What do we got? What do we got? DFH gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers. Virus containers. USB mini, USB memory. Yeah, so U-Disc, I only ever see the name U-Disc on Chinese printers. Everyone I know calls them USB drives or thumb drives. So obviously, this little kid can pick up this printer. This printer is not that big. So this kid is tiny because this printer is not that big. Okay. 8 language control. Ooh, very nice. English, proper British English. None of that Yankee Doodle drop the use shit. Christian, thank you for becoming a member. Step 1, step 2. So it's a 2-step assembly. It's got a carry handle. It's got the fancy, it's not V wheels, but it's got roller wheels, which are nice. I prefer these over V wheels. For those that don't know, aluminum extrusions are not a precision motion system. They are extruded aluminum. So there's no guarantee they're not twisted. So I prefer to see rods and rails and stuff like that over extrusions, but that's just me. Tronxy, yeah, we're gonna, because of some recent news with Tronxy, we are gonna open this printer up before we print, just to see what we're looking at under the hood. Compatible with different filaments, ABS and nylon. Well, I don't know if it's an all metal hot end. We'll have to check that out. It's got TMCs, which everything does nowadays. Blah, blah, blah. Max extruder 275. Is it all metal? I'm gonna have to check that. Product show. There is the product. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So nice simple printer. It's nothing outside of the box. Nothing, you know, breaking the mold. But it's a nice simple beginner stylish printer. 180 cubed. If you're looking to get a bunch of cheap printers or looking for something to start with, that if 3D printing isn't for you, potentially get one of these. That way, if the hobby isn't for you, you're not out a lot. Or if you're looking for something to tinker and mod with. How does it compare to the KP3S? No idea. We haven't printed with this yet. Don't ask me if I recommend this printer yet. Don't ask me if you should buy this printer yet. We haven't taken it out of the box yet. But we shall see. Considering one of the easy 3D printer just for the lulz. I've looked at it. The problem is a lot of people have gotten them. Like LTT did a video on one of them. You go on YouTube, tons of people have gotten one. And yeah, you know, it would be fun to drop $100 on a printer. But let's be honest. People have done it already and they're shit. Like I could just take my, you know, bonsai and take the part cooling fan off and it's pretty much the same thing. So they're shit and they're cheap. But a lot of people have covered cheap printers already, so it's kind of like, eh. Solid fork when? Whenever DFH ships the kit. Which means we gotta start printing parts soon. Which, also, I gotta start printing parts for the Death Racer, because I gotta bring one to Earth. So. Okie dokie. Overhead camera. Go! Merv, $2, cheers! Do you like the box? It's cardboard. Shipping. Okay, so salad fork is on the way, which means we might have 2 builds. So, CRUX 1, installation manual. Shouldn't it be assembly manual? We're not installing anything, we're assembling. Okay. So, there's all our stuff. Cool, cool, cool. So, for those that don't know, you know, these printers are relatively shit simple, and we could probably put it together without the manual. I try to always follow the manual when it comes to commercial printers, because not everyone who's buying one of these has played with a printer before. So we have to kind of take a look at the manual to see if it's any good. Woo, we got a flex plate. PI flex plate, that's good. What do we got here? We got some plah. We got some good old plah in the bin. You got some screws, spare screws, a Allen key wrench thing, zip ties, a thumb drive, cool. A good old C14 cable. Therein lies the crux for your thumbnail. Yeah, that would involve me being clever. And in case you guys haven't noticed, I suck at YouTube thumbnails. I'm sure my channel would probably trend better with like results and whatnot if I spent more time on thumbnails. But frankly, I hate doing thumbnails. So, yeah. Okay, so that comes out. Okay, so I gotta, yeah. The magnet is attached to it. Do I have to put the magnet on myself? Seriously? Do I have to put the magnet on myself? Okay. I have to put the magnet on myself. What? That don't make sense. Why would you have the user put the magnet on the bed? How much is it? Link in the description. I'm sure you could probably find it on like Amazon or Banggood for other prices. So we're unboxing it. I'm going to see if the manual says to put the magnet on. The website, like on the website, it shows, where is it? Where is it? Step 1, install upper frame, filament holder and handle, and then finish. Where does the magnet go? Because the guy attaching the magnet was sick with COVID. Okay. I will say it's packaged relatively cleanly. Like it's got the not the super good foam, but the good enough foam for, you know, generic cheap China printer number 47. Okay. That. That. Don't think there's anything left in the box. Okay. So, no sundries here. Please keep clean. Okay. So what do we got here? This is a 40/20 extrusion. We do got V wheels for the Z. X has got, it's a rod sitting in an extrusion with bearings. So these are metal. So the good thing with these is they won't wear out like V wheels. We do have some adjustment for our tensioning. So we do got a tensioning knob. So that's good to see. That's good. We got a direct feed extruder. I don't know what type it is, but it is a it's your generic. So the extruder is, while it is direct feed, it's your generic Mark 8 style extruder. Smooth gear, curved idler, smooth drive gear, curved idler. It is direct drive, so no gearing or anything. So high voltage, do not touch. High voltage, do not touch. High voltage. Do not touch. How many volts is a hot end nowadays, folks? Not high voltage. Okay, we got our end stop. That is a lot of glue, but there's our Y end stop. Belt here is a little springy. No way to adjust tension. Oh, no, you can adjust tension. You could slide the motor. So it looks like you can slide that motor out. So that's gonna go there. So let's screw this together. Actually, before we go that far, so you can slide the motor to adjust your belt tension for your Y, which I might do that. This is a little, oop, wrong button. It's a little loosey. Bottom frame, so we do have the same motion system where we got rods here with bearings, curved bearings. I don't see any way to adjust tension on them. But in terms of, there's no play, so that's good. That's pretty solid. Okay. Let's see what's under the hood. That's the wrong bit. It's like an old style VCR. So how much you want to bet that I'm hoping ferrule, I'm saying ferrules for the mains, or the prong connectors for the mains and power, and then everything going into the controller board is going to be tinned wire. See those tin wires? Yeah, I guarantee it's going to be tin wires because that's how everything's mass produced over there. Okay. So that's nice. So we got nothing on this, so you don't have to worry about unhooking a fan when you take this off. And we do have a fan for the drivers. What controller board is that? So these I like to see. Power supply is a ZL. It's a 10 amp. Make sure we got it set to 115. We do. It's 115. So what is this? A 200 watt power supply? I think 200 watt. 24 volts, 10 amp power supply. That's what? I think that's 200 watt. That's a Chitu board? What board is this? $240 watt power supply? Okay. Yeah, somebody do the Ohm's law math. Okay, so we do have just a generic fan. What the fricky fruckle? Okay. So we got 24, okay, so we got power in. Bed out. And let me grab a thing here. Where did I put my screwdriver? How did that work? How does that work? Okay, so let's take a look here. So of course we have ourselves tinned wires. Of course they're tinned wires. They're always tinned wires because they're mass produced, and that's the easiest way to do it and the cheapest way. So Sanity gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers. Merv 20. Cheers. Can't stay for the whole thing, so have fun. Keep up the great work. Thanks. So do you know your thumbnail misspelled Tronxy as Tronxy? Cool. That's engagement. I'll fix it later. That's what happens when you make stuff at the last minute. Okay. So yeah, what is this controller board? Can't read the writing on what that is. The hot end hooks up here. Like the hot end hooks up over here. That's a MOSFET, I'm assuming for the bed. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 drivers. Is that a driver? No, that's a MOSFET. We got 4 drivers on the board. Where are the motors at? We got 1, 2. Okay, so Z motor, Y motor, X motor, extruder motor. This is the funkiest layout for a board. Why is the hot end here? Model numbers on the board. Oh, here we go. It's a Tronxy CXY446V10. And it looks like it could have another stepper driver under here, but it doesn't have one soldered to the board. Yeah, why is the hot end here? Why is the hot end there? Speaker. We got a speaker. A big ass cap. Is that a short cap? This might be for power loss, maybe? But I will say, okay, tin wires are the norm with China. I guarantee you, I forgot when we looked at the bamboo. I guarantee you the bamboo has tin wires. The FL Sun has tin wires. Tin wires are pretty much the norm for these mass produced, because when they make the wires on a machine cuts the wires to length, and instead of like twisting and putting a crimp on it or whatever, it just takes the end of the wire after it strips it and it just dips it in tin or solder, and then that's it, because now you don't have to worry about the wires coming splayed out. So it's a very simple, quick way to mass produce thousands of wires when you need to assembly line putting this together. That's why you see tin wires. It's the cheapest, most efficient way to do it. That's safe. They do it so that way you don't have to have somebody twist all the wires, and when you put them in a terminal, you don't have to worry about, you know, an errant wire causing a short, essentially. That's why they do it. We don't like to see it, because what can happen is on these compression fittings, right? You screw down the screw tight, okay? And it compresses the wire. But what can happen is over time, the wire heats up and cools down, and heats up and cools down, and heats up and cools down. And it can cause the tin or the solder to soften. And then what was formerly a tight wire is no longer a tight wire, and it could come loose and could short. Now, does that happen often? Is that something your average user has to worry about? It depends. What kind of solder they used, how tight the terminal is it heating up and cooling down to the point where the solder softens? Will it something take overnight? Will it something that take 10 years? If you're worried about it, take the wire, take it out of the terminal, cut it where the solder part is, crimp on a ferrule, reinstall it. So, BF Dennis gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers. And David K, thank you for becoming a member. So, basically these printers, I don't really use these a lot, so I don't replace them. But the ones that I do use a lot, I do replace the tin wires with ferrules. So, that's something you could do. It's a very easy thing to do. If you build 3D printers, you should have a ferrule kit on hand. You can buy them on Amazon for like 20 bucks. They are not expensive. But yeah, so power supply looks decent. No information on the motor. It's a generic motor. The fan, no branding on the fan. Controller board is some Tronxy thing running, I don't know what. I'm assuming some flavor of Marlin. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not freaked out. I'm not, you know, I don't see anything that would cause me to say avoid this right now. Although, again, having the freaking Hotend connector be like right there is super weird to me. But it is what it is. Am I sitting on something? Yeah, and the fact that this doesn't sit on it. Like it literally, the fan hits, like the fan sits on the block, the terminal block, because this is lower than this. So it like literally kind of just does that. I don't know. Sure, does it? It spins freely. Oh, no, that's gonna be a mess. 1 second here. I got a little string of goopiness here. There we go. It's a fan. Yeah, see, that's smart. The fan cools the connector, so you don't have to worry about the solder on the wire coming loose. It big brain Tronxy knows what they're doing. Big brain Tronxy. There we go. So yeah, I don't see anything that really stands out as a super concern. If you wanted to put ferrules on there, you can. But other than that, I don't see anything glaringly unsafe. Wires are neatly managed. Everything seems pretty good. I don't see anything that really stands out that would make me concerned. So, put this back together. No earth wires. It's grounded. This is your earth wire right here. There's your ground. Ground connects the power supply. Power supply only has a ground going in. Everything else is 24 volt. Really, in my opinion, you're as long as you ground mains, you're fine. So this is mains, goes to the power supply, that's grounded. The power supply is attached to the frame, which is metal. So everything attached to the frame should be grounded. Fifth scale RC is key. Thank you for becoming a member. First one was an X5S. Glad they improved. I'm pretty sure, is it the X5 was the one that burned down and killed the guy in California there? Chassis should be bonded to the frame. I don't know. On my Vorons, I just ground the bed and the power supply, and that's it. Everything else is attached. Let's be honest, this is about the standard when it comes to grounding that you'll see off pretty much every Chinese printer. Like, look at an Ender 3, same thing. Usually they just ground the power supply and that's all you got. That's pretty much the industry standard with all these printers. How old am I? I am many years old. Go. Back together. Okay, let's actually put this printer together. Let me check the manual here. Okay, manual. Tell me what to do. Oh, it does show that the thing isn't there. You cannot rely on a screw mount as a grounding path. Any other printers are the same as not considered safe by the NEC. Okay, there you go. They're not safe. Don't buy any Chinese printers ever. Or fix it yourself. Okay, assemble the base and printer. I don't know. I'm of the opinion if it's mains, it needs to be grounded. 24 volts is at mains. I don't ground 24 volts. So everything that's mains in this printer is connected to ground. The power going out isn't. It's 24 volt. It's not high voltage. Although, how many amps are going through the bed, I don't know. Because it's amps that are bad. Okay, assemble base, M46. Yep, so we got that. Lower X rail, install that. Handles on. Install platform sticker. Okay, so what? The manual shows a carborundum bed. Manual shows a carborundum. That's why. That's why. So let's see. That goes there. That goes there. I should have probably gotten the screws ready. Yeah, PI's upgrade. I don't know. Is it an optional upgrade on the website? Let's see here. So, oh yeah, no, it is an upgrade, but they don't install it. So they sent me the CRUX PEI. So, yeah, let's put the magnet on first. Sanity, good idea. Get that out of the way. So let me get some gloves. Do I have gloves in here? I might not have gloves in here. Am I that worried? Not really. No. That shop rag. So the bed is like an 1/8 inch thick aluminum. Got a protective film on it. So if you are doing this, make sure you take the protective film off. The amount of people I've seen put, not take off the protective film before going to put the magnet on is surprisingly high. Like, you would be surprised how many people don't take off the protective film before putting the magnet on, and then they wonder why the magnet doesn't stick and comes off. Kevin, thank you for becoming a member. Dang it. Oh, come on. Ah. Got to remove its damaged PI sheet from a plate. What's recommended to it? Remove the adhesive. If possible, this isn't always possible because the plate is attached to, you don't want to lose your heater. But if you can, like, if you're trying to get the adhesive off of spring steel, put it in a shallow pan with some water and a dishwash pod, right? Dishwash detergent pod. It dissolves the adhesive really good. Now, obviously you can't do that with like your bed if you're trying to get the adhesive off your PI sheet or your mic 6 plate, because you got a heater underneath. You don't want the heater coming off. So in that case, you got to use like something like Goo Gone or acetone or something to dissolve it like that without soaking it. Okay, so that's clean. You gotta remove the plastic. The amount of people, yeah, it's surprising how many people don't remove the protective film on things. I would use a spatula, but I don't know where it's at right now. So, YOLO. Probably installed about dozens of these by now in terms of like magnets and PI sheets and heaters over the years. At first I was all paranoid and I would take my time every time, and then after you do it a million times you're just like, ah, whatever, I'm just gonna put the magnet on, just do it with my fingers. Good enough. As long as you push in an even direction, you're good. Oh, hey Modbot. It's a King Rune clone. This is a King Rune clone the same way the KP3S is a mini clone. The same thing is it's a printer bot. It's a cantilever bed flinger. There's only so many ways you can build them. Same thing as my Ford Focus is a Camry clone. It's got an engine and 4 tires. Okay, good enough. Go with textured PI. Everyone likes textured PI. Hot surface, do not touch. Okay. So we got a whole bunch of screws. Luckily, all the screws are the same. I like when they are smart and they use the same screws for everything. Okay. So oh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Okay, we'll make that work. We'll make it work. This is garbage. And it still has a CRT with a film on it. Oh god. It's like people that use that buy a phone, and you know how when you buy a phone it's got that thin, like, it's not a screen protector, but it comes with the film on the screen, and people that just leave it on for years and it's got like bubbles under it and it's like scratched and it looks horrible, and they're like, it protects the screen, and it's like, get rid of it. Just get rid of it. You don't have a hole punch? Actually, to be fair, I don't think I have a hole punch. But I did make a, back in the days of tape chain, I did make like an actual steel punch that used pins, punching holes in thin steel. What's a hole punch? It's a whole thing for punching holes. I don't like that switch doesn't click. That micro switch, the Y micro switch doesn't make a clicking noise. I don't like that. Okay, plug in our Z. That's already coupled together. Okay, so it does have a filament runout detector. It's got this. There we go. I don't like. It's got this really cheap braided cabling sleeving, and it's cheap. Like, this feels dirty cheap. So our hot end. Oh, I guarantee you that's not all metal. Yeah, I guarantee you that's not all metal. Is your generic Mark 8-esque hot end that you've seen a million times. Printed fan duct, 5015 fan. Yeah, I guarantee you that's not all metal. I'm not even going to bother taking it apart. I guarantee you that's not all metal. So don't be printing ABS on this. They're finger killers if you have to try to add wires. Yeah, I prefer like the wrap style ones, but this just feels cheap. Cheap. Okay, all important, put the carry handle on. Also, it's got, don't constrain your lead screws. Do not constrain your lead screws, people. It's not a good idea. Gotta put the carry handle on, super important. Why don't? Okay, so you don't okay. So, for those that don't know, in a ball screw system, ball screws are held to a much higher standard. You constrain both ends usually. You don't really need to, but usually both ends are constrained. But with a lead screw setup like this, okay, you don't want to have the motion constrained in two ways, because, you know, for those that don't understand how a Voron works, they like to throw around the word over constrained, okay? This is over constrained because you have, no, that button. Your motion system moves along this axis, okay? It moves on, this carriage moves along the extrusion here on V wheels. You also have what's driving that is the lead screw. So what happens is if they are both perfectly aligned, it's not an issue. However, lead screws can sometimes wobble. It is what it is, especially when you have couplers. Lead screws, if you want the most precise ones, you want lead screws that are directly mounted in the motor. You don't, couplers are potential, they add potential issues. I don't like them. Also, how this nut is and where this nut sits in the mount and how everything aligns. So basically, you want this free floated at the top. So that way, if there is a misalignment, it allows the lead screw to kind of just wobble, but the motion itself is still constrained by the axis of motion here, by the V wheels essentially. So by having this constrained, if this is out of alignment, it can actually force this to potentially move and wobble. Where if this was free floated, okay, if there was an issue with misalignment, this would move and hopefully your x-axis here, your gantry, wouldn't move. So by allowing this to move, this stays still. But if they're both constrained, this is more rigid potentially than this, because it's V wheels and it's rubber. So potentially, if this is forcing this to move, it's bad. No, I'm not gonna get the ball screw out. You guys like that a little too much and it's concerning. Okay, so we do have an adjustable knob here for our Z end stop for adjusting that. No probe of any sort. Most of these cheap printers don't have a probe. So let's see. So we mounted that. We mounted that. Mounted those. Put the handle on. Super important. We got the handle on. Plug that in. Oh, we got to put this on. Got to put our super advanced filament roller, which is probably better than the one that comes with the FL Sun. I really hate the one that comes with the FL Sun. It's bad. So how does this even, does it just stick out like that? Okay, I guess it sticks out like that. Cool, I guess. Try and use that crappy handle here. Matt Shammy, 5 cheers, 5 bones for hopes of saving off paid promotion. And did your care package make it yet? I didn't look. What did you send me? I did have a package show up today, but it was just an envelope with some gold paper in it and some stuff. I don't know what else it was. Okay. Red easy board. Nope. Okay, in that case, Shammy, it did not. Somebody sent me some of the reflective gold stuff that you use for like making your probes not die, and then they made like 2 little things out of gasket sealant. I don't know what it is. I got a ticket to the chocolate factory. I think that's what it is. Okay, so install that. Ooh, what's this? Ooh, special card for... Oh, they give you a little... Oh, look at this. They give you a little card for leveling the bed. Oh my god. Okay. There's that. There's that. Under normal circuits, you can keep the factory default settings. Cool. Switch the voltage to 110. I think we've already done that. Yeah. Okay. Power it on. Cool. I got 2 extra screws. That could be a good thing or a bad thing. Hopefully they're just extra screws. I actually have to use this one. Normally I have one already always plugged in, but I did a little bit of moving stuff around before going on vacations. Where is... Oh my god. Why is it way up front here? Turn that off. Oh my... Oh, that's stiff. Okay. Okay, make sure we got full degree of motion. I don't like that rubbing on that. That is... I don't like that. But it is what it is. Goes there. And stop works. Full degree of motion there. Okay. Okay. Tripod's Garage, $5. Cheers! The models that were included in my SD card were garbage, plus the build plate is exactly 180, so the purge line will fall off the edge. Well, which way does it fall off? Which way does it fall off? I'm assuming, is it on the left here or the front? And Thomas gifted 5 community memberships. Cheers! Insert the reverse boated. Well, it's got a little piece in here already, so I don't really need that. Left. Okay, so this is how we're gonna fix it. You ready, tripod? Ready? I'm gonna take the build plate, and we're gonna go. Ah. There we go. There we go. Cool. Okay, thoughts on the Prusa XL change from cycloidal drive to planetary and the delay. I kind of knew about that already from talking with Joe at events. So that part doesn't really surprise me, and it kind of makes sense because if cycloidal was that good, more people would be using it. Simple as that. As for the delays due to supply chain issues, that it is what it is. I don't trust any delivery date for anything right now because I know it'll be adjusted and moved, and it is what it is. So I'm a realist. I accept it. It is what it is. Okay. The pre-slice files do not have a purge line. Oh, okay. In that case, well, we'll run one. What time are we at right now? We'll turn it on. Let's see if we get some sparks. Oh, it plays a sound. Okay, cool. So we got to level his bed. So system, language, English. Good. Okay. Tool, level. Please choose level mode. Manual. Okay, it beeps when it hits the end stops. Cool, I guess. Okay. So let's see here. How much is this out? Oh my god, that's way up. Okay, so let's drop this. Okay, that's good there. Okay. Turn that back on. More time to dig out the basement. Exactly. What do you think of putting an LGX light extruder on a V0 with a Revo? Go for it. LGX light's a cool extruder. Did a review on it. I know you did. I purposely I try to avoid watching other people's reviews on things that I will be playing with, just because I don't want my opinion affected. Okay, so let's do that one. Okay, use their piece of paper that they gave me. After the movement, adjust the screw under the platform to make the distance between the sections. Okay, so up. Good old manual bed leveling. Isn't this fun, guys? Okay. This is one of those things everyone should be able to do, but we shouldn't be doing this anymore because of how cheap bed probes are, especially setups like this that have a metal bed. Like a PL08 is $3 if you buy a cheap one, which on a printer like this is fine. And an inductive probe, or the BAT 85 diode is 5 or 10 cents. So we shouldn't have any printer that has a metal bed. Inductive probes are cheap and they're easy and they work well enough. What's your opinion on Revo versus Rapido or even the Dragon? Dragons, I haven't used Dragons in a while. I've kind of stopped using them due to some QC issues that apparently are cropping up, and I've had one that died on me after a decent amount of usage. Put it this way, I'm running 5 Revos right now and 1 Rapido. And the machine with the Rapido I haven't used this year, so take that as you will. I don't print super fast. Okay, that works. Okay. My Rapido is working very well. Obsidian Revo when? I've got one installed in that machine and one installed in that machine. So when Obsidian Revo? Now, like right now. I just printed my clicky parts, wondering when we need a clicky probe. Kurt. Tool level. Okay, so we've leveled that. That's done. Okay, let's put some filament in it. Where's that bamboo crap that I've got a ton of? There you go. I've got 8 spools of this green, neon green bamboo PLA, so I might as well use it. I don't know. I still don't know why they shipped me 8 spools of this stuff, but they did. So we're going to use it because why not? Okay. One reason I hate these filament probes or runout sensors is I like to catch the filament. There we go. Okay. So manual. Z up. Okay, I think it's loaded. Okay. Like the Revo because it's a heated block and okay, let's put that in. print test models. So we have a cat. We got some demon thing. We got a Doraemon is hanged. What? Doraemon is hanged. XYZ calibration cube. Crux of the wind cooling. Catch the demon of... I can't see the rest of that. These are some really funky names for... Let's do Doraemon is hanged. Doraemon is hanged. .g code. Do we do the cat or Doraemon is hanged? Catch the demon? Catch the demon. Catch the demon of something, and I don't know the rest of it. I don't want to plug the thumb drive into my computer. Cat. Everyone wants a cat. Fine, we'll do. A cat is fine too. I'll put the cat on. Plutus cat. There we go. We're going to print a cat. Okay. So we'll let the cat print for a bit. If the cat is kind of funky, we'll let me load up Polymaker here. See if we got this machine is in Polymaker. I don't know. It's a Plutus cat. Plutus. What does that mean? I don't know. But it's on there. So I'm loading up Cura to see if they have a pre-made profile for this. Okay, Coda is old. Coda came with us on the trip because we couldn't leave him for a week. This is the first time he's been on like a long car ride, and he was in the back of the car for like 10 hours. Like, obviously we stopped a bunch, but you could tell he's getting old. It's the Lucky Cat. Oh, it's the Lucky Cat. Okay, I know the Lucky Cat. Oh, that'll be good. Where did I put it then? So, oh my God, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Did I drop? Yes. Okay. So if it is the Lucky Cat, we can compare this model, this demo print, to the demo print of the Lucky Cat from a Monoprice Select Mini from 5 years ago. Because I have one right here. I don't want to plug the thumb drive. I don't like plugging these thumb drives into my computer. Add a non-network. Okay, so Tronxy. Usually I use Cura for commercial machines because they usually have a lot of pre-made profiles. So Tronxy. They don't have the CRUX one. I think this printer's too new for it. They don't have the CRUX one. Okay, the screen turns off after a while, so that's kind of cool. And by cool, I mean annoying. You're superstitious. Not superstitious. I just don't trust Xi Jinping and Winnie the Pooh. So. Ah, it's beeping. It's beeping. It's beeping. Quit beeping. Oh, filament's coming out. We are a little close to the bed. Can I adjust it? Yes, you can microstep it. Okay. Well, it's doing something. Sending Morse code back to Xi Jinping. It's not a thumb drive, it's a U-disk, damn it. Okay, I'm sorry. Currently in Shanghai. Can't confirm. Oh, so yours didn't have a purge line? Huh. Mine, I'm pretty sure I got mine around when you did. This showed up about 3 weeks ago. And then I brought it all the way to Quebec and then back home for no reason. Because I was going to try streaming on the vacation if I had a down day, like if it was raining or whatever. But that didn't end up happening. Don't think the video... Oh yeah, this filament is like ungodly bright. Like it is green. Like this filament is bright. Good job keeping it solid. Here's the thing. I like streaming. I would have loved to do a stream out in the woods, like at the cabin we were at. Like I would have loved to. Would have been fun. Like I was away for 9 days. 3 hours of streaming would have been nothing. How's the filament holder? Printer seems pretty stable. Should have done a cabin print in wood filament. That would have been cool. How was Quebec? Did you enjoy? I did, other than the fact that, okay, Quebec people, why don't you cut your pizza? We went to 3 pizza places while we were in Quebec, okay? One was like a really fancy place in Old Quebec City. The other 2 were like just local pizza places while we were out and about, okay? None of them cut their pizza. You order the pizza, you get the pizza in a box, or they bring it to your table, and it's a pizza, okay? And not cut. Here's a knife. Cut your own pizza. Also, everything closes really early. Like you go to a Timmy's and it's like 6 o'clock and it closed. Weird. They don't cut it because that's the proper way. So I'm supposed to like mangle this really hot pizza with a knife that when I try to cut it, all the toppings get all smushed everywhere instead of using a proper rolling knife like they would on a normal pizza, so that when you pull a slice out, all the slice is properly constrained and all the toppings are on it, instead of me sitting there with a really shitty steak knife that they give me and I'm cutting it and all the toppings are mushing everywhere and it looks like crap after. No. Although, I did bring some stuff back. So here, watch the printer. I'll be back in a second. I'll show you my haul. Mute that. Now, I did get, like, beer and, like, I did get, actually, we got a few bottles of some apple cider, hard apple cider. But, I got, for me, this is Finger Lakes International Wine Competition. This is, this is basically a port. It's almost like a port, but it's like a honey whiskey port. There's honey in it. So mel it's a digestif alcoholic beverage with honey and maple syrup. So it's a honey maple port type thing. It's really good, but it's like a dessert drink, and it's 22%. So that's really good. This stuff was tasty. And then I also got honey whiskey, which again, it's only 20%, but Canadian whiskey fortified with honey wine. So again, this is also like a port. Actually, no, this is the port. This isn't, or something. I don't know. They're both delicious, and they got alcohol in it. So, fortunately, I got to go pick up the little guy after the stream, so we're not going to partake in any of that on stream. But they're not something you want to drink a lot of. I'm assuming you would get a pretty bad hangover if you like drank a lot of this in one go, but it's tasty. And then we got a bunch of apple cider vinegar stuff. So it's actually moving at a pretty decent clip, it looks like. The screen turns off after a little bit, which is kind of annoying. It is estimating this is a 5-hour print, though, so it'll finish after. Why does the stock Voron profile use gyroid over standard infill? Why not? Also, which profile are you using? Are you using one off the GitHub? Because there's a few different default profiles. Gyroid. Why does it use gyro infill? Super slicer. Is it built in this? I don't know. Whoever made it selected it. Like it's not like we had a big community meeting and sat down and went, this is the default profile. It was whoever like sent it in. So between the mini clone KPF3 and Quartz One, which one would you recommend? Okay, well this one, we have gone approximately 11 minutes of printing. So I cannot formulate an opinion on this printer yet. The KP3S I liked. It's a very good platform. It's got linear rails. It's a very cheap price. It's got some weird design quirks that are potential failure points, namely the idlers for the X and Y axis are kind of single point of failure type design elements. Mini clone, I'd still personally recommend the Prusa Mini. The mini clone you got to tinker with. It works, like mine works now that we got the thing on it, and we replaced the stock extruder, but it is the mini printing out? Well, no, because it's sitting in the other room, but I did do a print after with the default settings, and I don't know where the print went. I gotta find it, but it printed fine. It's just slow. So I'm thinking I was trying to push it a little too fast, and I gotta play with the settings a bit. Gyroid is less than 20%, cubic is high. That's personally my go-to. Personally, I like gyroid infill on lower percentage infill. So a lot of like my fancy, like, you know, desktop stuff that sits on a desk prints, I use gyroid at a low percentage, and then the stronger stuff I usually use cubic at high percent. That's just me though. Instructions don't mention stealth burner. That's because stealth burner is kind of its own thing at the moment. It is compatible. Stealth burner is fully released. So basically when you get to the part of the instructions where it talks about the tool head, just look at the stealth burner manual. It's because the manual for the V2.4 R2 was put out before stealth burner. Okay. So stealth burner is the optional upgrade because it uses clockwork too. So you could still build a 2.4 R2 with afterburner, but if you want to do stealth burner, just when you get to the toolhead, just do stealth burner. What about grid? Like I can't remember who it was. Somebody did like a thing where they actually tested all the different infills, and after like 20%, it doesn't really matter what infill percent you go with. Personally, I like cubic because it's like, it doesn't really matter what direction. Like grid, for example, it's all vertical, so you have like compression forces aren't as good, but it really depends on the part geometry and the use case and whatnot. Like I'm gonna be printing stuff for the Death Racer soon. Like this week I'm gonna start printing stuff for the Death Racers, and I'm just gonna print it with my Voron settings, but I'm gonna use like a 0.8 nozzle for a lot of the big stuff because thicker lines with stronger prints. Can you explain why the Voron team don't do a Delta? Why would we? So everything on a Voron has to be commercially available off the shelf, okay? No custom components. One of the things with a Delta is the effector. You can print effectors, yes, but they're not as good as like pre-built like metal ones and whatnot, which is a custom component. So that immediately rules out that. 2, Core XY does everything a Delta does, but better. And if you want your bed to stay still, build a V2.4, because it's a fixed bed, Core XY. Plus, nobody on the team wants to make a Delta. That's what it is. I've got a Delta. I've got 2. I've got the FL Sun SR and the FL Sun V400. I really like the V400. It is a great machine. It's massive. It is absolutely gargantuan in terms of Z height. And Deltas have issues with the build volume being circular and cone shaped essentially for near the top. But yeah, my thoughts on the 4 versus 6 nozzle controversy. It's not really a controversy. 0.5 nozzle master race, by the way. But really when it comes down to it is modern slicers are able to adjust flow control to allow you to run a fatter nozzle and then just drop flow when needed to do smaller details. Okay. Run a 0.6 nozzle then if you want to run that the slicers that can handle it. Let's be honest, most people can't tell the difference between a 0.4 and a 0.6 anyways. 0.6, if you run filled stuff, run a bigger nozzle. 0.4 still can jam a lot with filled materials like carbon fiber, especially wood fill, glow in the dark. So run a fatter nozzle. It's not really a controversy, it's just kind of a accepted thing. I'm pretty sure 0.4 was used because E3D was using standard bits and they used like a 3/16 bit originally or something like that. There's, I don't know, or not standard. Would it be 3/16? No, 0.4 is, I don't know, whatever. I remember there being some reason why 0.4 became the standard. Because originally, I'm pretty sure 0.5 was the standard originally, but then everyone kind of just moved to 0.4 and now it's whatever. Yeah, I've printed Toasty. No, not Toasty. Which one? I can't remember. One of these machines has all the parts printed with a 0.6 nozzle and they're all fine. The reason we recommend 0.4 nozzles on a Voron is because everything is designed within line widths of 0.4 and layer height of 0.2. So when it comes to the way certain parts are designed in terms of wall thickness in certain areas where holes are and whatnot, it's all designed with 0.4 walls, multiples of 0.4 walls, and multiples of 0.2 layer height. So if you print with a different nozzle, you might have some quirks in some of the parts. Will they actually affect the print, especially with modern slicers? Who knows? And I printed plenty of parts with a 0.6 nozzle with no problem, especially like the Z parts. It used to be a bigger deal on the older Voron revisions, but the newer ones are a little bit more forgiving. So it's actually printing decently fast for a demo print, I will say. Like, for example, we're going to be printing parts for the Death Racer. My Death Racer, I'm going to print a lot of parts with a 0.8 nozzle. I think we're going to do the body in some PC, I think. Or actually, no, I think, I don't know. What are we going to do the body with? Actually, it might be 0.6. It's going to be on that guy. And I have, what is it? Some polycarbonate? Or actually, I might do some PC PETG for the body. But we also have some PCCF, which this is what we're going to use for the salad fork parts. Let me fix this so it's not as blurry. Video, control, focus. There we go. I also have PC ABS. I've printed some of it actually. I think some of it is actually on the Mando armor. When are we? I think we might try Saturday for the Ultim. I gotta really dry it. Is the Revo Obsidian high flow? Nope. It was because I was running out of black filament before I got back from Murph, or before I unboxed some other stuff that I had that I forgot about. I have a 0.25 nozzle. Wouldn't recommend. No. Also, you have to remember, the thicker the layer line. Okay, sorry. The bigger your nozzle, the more filament that flows through it. So, filament, because we are printing stuff with FDM processes. Okay. So this is a printed part. You are laying down layers and lines. Your part will always be the strongest in the direction of the layer, not the vertical, right? So this part right here, I'd be able to snap it more this way than I would be to like split it apart this way, okay? Because it's a tall vertical part, so obviously it's gonna be weakest this way. It's like tree root, or wood grade, essentially. So there's always going to be like ways that the part is stronger and weaker. The thicker your extrusion, the stronger the part, because the extrusion itself is the strongest part. So when you lay two extrusions next to each other, they touch and they kind of bond, and they're stronger than an extrusion sitting on top of another extrusion. Okay, because usually it cools a bit. You still want a little bit molten, and it'll stick together better. So extrusions that are next to each other are stronger than extrusions on top of each other, and the fatter the extrusion, the stronger the part. So if you print Voron parts with a 0.25 nozzle, the parts will be weaker than printed with a 0.4 nozzle, or weaker than with a 6 nozzle, or weaker than a 0.8. Now there are diminishing returns to take into effect, and everything's designed with 0.4, so you're fine with 0.4. It's designed, it works with 0.4. So going to a bigger nozzle, the parts may be stronger, but you might not need the extra strength, so it's kind of a waste. But if you're printing something like a Death Racer, where you're going to beat the crap out of it, you might want to use the thicker extrusions, because again, the filament is the strongest, the bigger the extrusion, essentially. So. I'm going to test my Rapido with different nozzle size, including much thicker lines, to see how the quality performance. Another good trip is with infill. Over extrude the crap out of your infill. I extrude my infill with 0.4 nozzles at like 0.72. Like over extrude the crap out of your infill. If your hot end can't keep up, you're still over extruding it, and it's infill, so it helps with the strength of the part because it's a thicker line. It'll be stronger. I don't know why it's did infill for a bit and now it's doing solid lines again, but it is. 0.6 what layer height? Depends on what flow rate your hot end is capable of. Because you go to the bigger nozzles, you're going to hit flow rate caps quicker, especially if you don't have a high flow hot end. So, are you good to print my Voron parts on an EcoHome 3D printer in concrete? I've seen Voron parts printed in chocolate, so go for it, man. You do you. Well, if you're printing with a 0.6 nozzle, print 0.6 for the walls. And just use the new Arachne engine on Prusa Slicer 2.5 and let it deal with it. Deal with the flow adjustments. I will say though, I was gone for over a week, and I'm back, and we got what, 400 viewers right now. Hi, make sure y'all like the smash button, because the numbers are lacking there in terms of likes, but whatever. But you guys are all back. I'm so happy. I was actually kind of dreading this first stream. I was a little worried that, like, because I was, you know, people are goldfish on the internet, so if you disappear for a week and you come back, everyone's like, oh, you know, don't get the notifications, YouTube, you know, doesn't push it, and people don't realize, and the numbers would be low. But yay, I'm happy. So that's good. It was good. It was nice. Not on vacation, not anymore. In my basement. But I do YouTube full time, so I guess every day is vacation, but it's not really because there's actually a surprising amount of work that goes into running a YouTube channel. But it is what it is. Nope, wrong button. Right button. Is it okay to print Voron parts with a 0.1 layer height? I personally wouldn't, because that would affect layer strength. Parts would look really good, but it would affect layer strength. And take double the time. So much I like FDM, but I would like to print Voron parts out of resin. Okay, don't print any mission critical parts, so any parts that are actually structural on a Voron out of resin. We have yet to see a printer built out of resin actually function and not kill itself. Resin, especially in a hot environment, will crack under stress. It just does. Even some of the engineering resins that are out there. Now, to be fair, on V226 here, I have a afterburner front face here that is printed in smoky gray resin from Soraya Tech. It's an ABS-like resin. And this is one of I've been running this for a couple months, and I'm gonna run it until it fails. But it hasn't failed yet. But also, there is zero structural stress on this part at all. It's literally just a fan shroud. Plus, I really like the look of it, and I'm lazy. So I'm gonna run that until it doesn't work anymore, but skirts you can do, but I wouldn't do Z motor mounts, put it that way. CNC Kitchen did lower layer height show better layer adhesion? Huh. I don't really trust that too much, but it depends on the parts he was printing, I guess. But and the material. I bet you material comes into a lot of play of that. I had to reprint my resin Sherpa 2 times. Yeah, resin is not meant for like 3D printer parts. This week, got to get back on working on the Mando parts. I should have the helmet ready for paint soon. What is going on? Why is my phone freaking out? Okay. Oh, PETG. Yeah, PETG has really good layer adhesion. So, for example, I've got this stuff here, which I think we're going to use this stuff for the body of the Death Racer, like the main body. This is Protopasta CF PETG, okay? So when you add something to a filament, you lower its layer adhesion. So parts usually become stronger in the XY axis and they become weaker in the Z axis because carbon fiber don't stick to carbon fiber. So when you fill your filament with carbon fiber, it doesn't stick to itself as good. But when you add carbon fiber to a filament like PETG that has amazingly good layer adhesion to begin with, it doesn't affect it as much because it's got really good layer adhesion to begin with. So you get stiffer in the XY and it's still pretty strong in the Z, and it's not so much stiffer because, again, if the carbon fiber is in the filament, it's not going to cross layer lines. So the parts are only stronger along the extrusion length. Along the Z, you lose strength. Adding carbon fiber to the filament won't increase your Z strength at all because the filament is filled with the carbon fiber and it doesn't mix. You don't mix it across the layer lines. A little chopped up carbon fiber stays in the extrusion. It can't cross that layer line barrier. So I think we're going to use this for the main body because I actually use CF PETG, different brand, on my rep racks and they are really strong. So would you recommend a V400 for ABS? My printed ABS great. This is ABS printed on the V400. There's some Mando. It's a wrist gauntlet for Mando. No cracking or anything. It is kind of a pain to enclose I did it on stream. If you go on my YouTube, my Twitter, there's some pictures on there somewhere. But basically, I used some coroplast and wedged it in the panels or in the extrusions to enclose it. You can probably get a little bit fancier, and it's big, so enclosing it makes it even bigger. But it does print ABS beautifully. So, what am I going to print out of the Ultim? A hook to see if we even can print anything. If it does print, some gears with a Death Racer, maybe. We'll see. Prints the same parts in resin. It's not so much. There are multiple different factors that affect strength. PLA, for example, is really rigid. It's a really rigid plastic. It's very strong. But on a hot day, it turns to mush and it cracks. So there's strength, there's ductility, there's malleability, there's many different factors in terms of judging a material for a use case. So yes, one might be able to take a hammer blow better, but the fact that, you know, resin, for example, when you heat it up for a while and you apply constant stress like an XY joint that constantly has belt tension on an idler, and you heat it up and you heat cycle it several times over a couple weeks, that part will crack eventually and fail. It will just explode. Or I've seen tool heads. So you got the tool head where your belts come in. I've seen them literally get ripped apart and like chunks get ripped out of it because it catastrophically failed because it's resin. So, seen any Vorons with acetone? Not really. Not really needed. Death Racer is like a little RC jousting vehicle. Go on YouTube, look up The Real Sam Prentice. Which filament is good overall and doesn't cost an arm and legs besides Ultimate Peak? ABS, ASA, polycarbonate, PLA, PETG. Depends what you need to use it for. Is this machine better than the Elegoo Neptune 2, or is it comparable? I don't know. I don't have an Elegoo Neptune 2, so I can't compare it based on personal experience. Let me pull up the Elegoo Neptune 2. It's a V-wheel bed flinger. So, this machine's going to be bigger. It's got a Bowden extruder. It doesn't have a flex plate bed. Doesn't have a PI flex plate bed. Other than that, it's got NEMA 17s, TMCs, and a 32-bit board. Probably the same Hotend. So, like 90% of commercial 3D printers from China, sub $300, are all exactly the same. Within margin of error, let's be honest. Is it vaporware? I don't know. Is it like they only do like small batches of it and they run out of sale real quick? I think some people... The thing is, people have built Vorons with resin parts and they failed. That's why we tell people not to do it. But people still gotta, oh, I gotta try it for myself. It's like people who print Voron parts out of PETG. Every couple of months, somebody does it and it fails catastrophically. And then we're like, we told you so. Well, I want to know for myself. Am I hearing a thunderstorm? Or am I just hearing things? Or is it my air conditioning kicking on? No rain today. No rain for a week. Great. Polymax PC. You got to be careful with PC because it deteriorates when it reacts with certain chemicals. Loctite and greases and oils will cause it to literally like lose layer adhesion and fail catastrophically. So you got to be careful with polycarbonates. I have no idea what to use my PA6. I've used PA12 CF in Toasty, and it works fine. Also, you have to understand, the stiffer filaments like polycarbonate, if you have a crash, okay? So, you know, you flipped your printer over and the little pin for your Z switch fell out or something, and you flipped it over and you go bada 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 crunch. Okay, ABS has some what's it called, ductility to it, so it'll bend, and then when you take the pressure off, it'll go back to normal. Okay, so you can crash it and it might not be an issue because it'll flex a little bit, and then once you take the pressure off, it'll go back to its normal position. Okay, polycarbonate is stiffer. What can happen is, instead of it just kind of giving way and going back, it can crack, and then it's done. It's done. Now PETG has the opposite problem. Now, under warm environment, if you PETG can just kind of eventually just creep. So if you constantly have tension on a part, like an idler, it'll just kind of, instead of going back to its original position, it'll just keep going. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, gotta wait for it to boot up. Loctite damages polycarbonate, explains why my BL touch mounting points literally crumbled. There you go. Chemical resistance. May not be an issue because your cheese grade aluminum extrusion's been. Yeah, there's always the video of RCF back when we were testing worm gear drives on the V2 with 40-to-1 gearing, where he bent the X-axis aluminum extrusion. Oh. Yeah, see what I mean? Oh wait, I don't have a nozzle in that printer. That would explain it. Where's the nozzle for that printer? Oh, I took the nozzle out of that printer. One second, let me get a nozzle for this printer. That would explain it. Oh, here's where the nozzle is. That's right, we took that out and we put it in the Prusa Mini. I forgot. That's also why you run a low current when you do your homing cycle. So that way, when it does crash, it doesn't destroy it. What was that? That was me trying to home my printer without a nozzle in it. Because we took the nozzle out and put it in the Prusa Mini. And I think we still have some filament in there. We do. So I don't know if I can take it out actually. Hello from the Canary Islands. Ooh, that's a new one. Yeah, I can't take that out because it's got filament in there. Do that another day. Okay. Let's just put a 0.4 back in there for now. Where's all the Revos? There's a Revo. Why do I have so many Revo nozzles? Oh well. Turn that back on. So that was a pretty hard crash. Like we tried homing the printer for 10 seconds without a nozzle in it. But it's ABS, it bounces back. What is the proper procedure for homing with a clicky and sex bolt? Do you need to clean and wipe the nozzle? I don't. None of my printers have a nozzle brush in it. What I do is when I do the final Z switch, whatever you're using, the sex bolt, micro switch, whatever your setup is, I heat the nozzle up to 180 before I do the final clicky home, and basically any filament on the nozzle at that point just kind of mushes out of the way. That's fine. That's what I've always done, and it works fine. I've never had an issue with it, so. That gantry is really racked. Holy shit. Does it line up still? Okay, we're good. There we go. Do I have a dying idler in here? I do have a dying idler in there. It's about time I had something die in that printer. Wrong button. There we go. So rebuilding V226 gantry soon. At some point. Part of the reason I don't do anything with this printer is to see how long stuff goes without failing. Like, for those that don't know, the gantry in V226 here, and it's V226 because serial number 26 is V2. The gantry on here is about 3 months before release of V2.4. It's a beta gantry. So this gantry is ancient. It's over 2 years old. And it's been used a lot. All the idlers in it are from when it was a 2.4 or 2.1. All the idlers, like all the gearing, the belts, all the hardware in this gantry is from 2.1. Pre 2.1, because I built the beta version of the 2.1. And I've just been beating on it just to see what fails. And I think we finally have some idlers going, because it's making a little scratchy noise. But it still prints fine. So we might be upgrading this to a 2.4 R2 at some point. Mostly because I want to do Clockwork 2 and all that in here at some point. Actually, no, not Clockwork 2, because I got an LGX in here. But, I don't know. We'll see. Problem is, it still prints fine, and I'm lazy, so. Wrong button. How long is that? Over 2 years. In terms of 2.1, it's like, 4 years almost. Would you recommend build a Micron or a 2.150 next, and why? Need a new project. Micron 160? Is it 160 or 150? I can't remember. A 2.4 150 or a V2 150? No. I'd say go with a Micron 150 before that. Low voltage homing, is it a Clipper feature? In Clipper, you could set the motor current with TMC drivers for use case. So you could set it to run your motors, your Z motors, at a lower current when doing your homing. So that way, if you do crash, your motors have left power and you don't like Z negative trying to drive a hole into your bed and break your tool head. $180 heart can't math. There you go. Almost feel like it. Why would it? Okay, so why would it be time for a 2.5 or 2.6? We just upgraded 2.4 to R2. So what would 2.5 or 2.6 even be? Because 2.4 is pretty much at like, it's pretty stable right now. Like the reason 2.1 existed was it because it fixed things that were wrong with V2. And 2.2 fixed things that were wrong with 2.1. 2.4 was completely from new. So we took everything we learned on V2, 2.1 and 2.2, took everything we learned and designed a new printer from scratch. And that was 2.4. Now it's had an R1 and an R2 revision, but it's still basically the same machine, just with some, you know, quality of life tweaks. Voron belt. That would require somebody on the Voron team wanting to design a belt printer. Again, proprietary components. .5 isn't needed. Exactly. And people in new revs, we just had a new rev. 2.4 revision 2. That came out a couple months ago. Got an MGN 12 rail. All the new parts and whatnot. Well, Stealth Burner is optional. It's an add-on. It's just the tool head. You can just swap the tool head on. It's not a new revision of the V2 because the tool head is independent. Stealth Burner works on Trident. It works on V2. It works on Legacy. It's an independent system. So, actually, no, I don't actually. I don't know if the final version of Stealth Burner is Legacy compatible because of the mounting. I'm not 100% sure. It might be, but not Clockwork 2. Actually, yeah, it will work, but not Clockwork 2. Voron is not Creality. We don't need a new printer. Well, what you do is you do the Creality method. You just kind of swap the random components along your different lines and just kind of like, well, this one's got a touchscreen on it. Let's make it the Pro model. I think the keyback on the back of V2 gantry would mess anything up. My gantry sags and the Y end stop won't. Make sure your belts are tight. Even on like a big V2, your gantry shouldn't be sagging more than a couple of steps. So make sure your belts are properly tight. When adopting, consider some of the community mods. Yes and no. Like, for example, direct drive, having a direct feed tool head, that was something that the idea came about from a community mod. Before 2.4, all Vorons were boated. Now, in terms of like the 247 printing and the obscene air cooling, probably not. Because that's not really the goal of the V2. Like Nemgria, the main guy who, 0.2 is feature complete. If you went to Murph, we had a 0.2 there. It's mostly just incremental upgrades over the 0.1 with mini Stealth Burner. That's 0.2. So. Wormsy will stop your gantry tray. Yeah, we played with Wormsy. We dropped it for a reason. So yeah, don't forget, we do have the draw for the filament from Polymaker at the end of the stream, which will probably be around 5 o'clock, maybe a little bit sooner than that. Planetary Zed. We didn't play with Planetary, but again, yeah. Worm Zed go burr. Worm Zed go crunch. Ignoring torque, do you think belt-driven Zed has enough resolution without gear reduction? V 2.0 had 2-to-1 gearing instead of the 5-to-1 that we have now, and it worked fine. The issue is the gantry drops a lot on power off. It's still correctable by doing the quad gantry level, but it is fine. Remember, most people print at a 0.2 layer height. So if you're just running, even if you were running straight 1-to-1 gearing, right? An X, your Z was a 20-tooth gear on it, and on the other end you had an idler, and that drove your Z, just straight 20-tooth whatevers. That's the same resolution as your XY axis, and your XY axis is pretty good. So you're just taking that and making it vertical. And again, most people print at 0.2 layer height, which that would be just fine at. Like, gearing doesn't matter. Like, you could have 1,000,000-to-1 gearing. If you're printing at 0.2 layer height, it doesn't matter. And most people don't print below 0.1. So that 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 layer heights, those are easily achievable numbers with that normal, 1-to-1 gearing. The difference is bed mesh. A little bit more consistent with bed mesh with higher gearing because you get all those little in-between steps. But in terms of like just a flat, it's 0.2 layer height. That's massive. So I love when printers argue like, oh, we can do this resolution. It's a NEMA 17 motor. They all have the same resolution. It's just gearing. And most people, again, we're extruding molten plastic out of a glorified hot glue gun, usually with a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. Having 0.005 resolution don't matter. The simple cord docks the bed at the bottom when printing to avoid that straight 22 filer. Yeah, if it works. I've seen people dock it at the top with magnets to hold it. 4 lead screws. Yeah, bust out the V24. Not all NEMA 17s. True. Either 0.8 or 1.8. Or what? 0.9 or 1.8. And the industry standard for the most part is 1.8s. Like, personally, I don't like 0.9s because they don't have as much torque as 1.8s, and I like torque. I'd rather have my printer be more reliable than print minutely more detailed prints. If you want to print high detail, get a resin printer. My BQ came with 0.9 seam. Oh, they work fine. You can, like, within your parameters. Like, it depends how much you're pushing it. Like, a Mustang comes with a much bigger engine than a Toyota Corolla, but they all just work fine. It depends on your use case and how fast you're pushing it, how the weight of the tool head, how much mass it's moving, how fast you're running, what accelerations you're running. There's a million variables. Ooh, I am hungry. The only thing I don't like about Stealth Burner, well, yeah, there's only, you're jamming an extruder on top of it, so you are going to lose some Z because you got to fit the extruder on top, and then also you have to have room for the filament to come in from the top. You don't lose as much Z as you used to. It's because we've never changed the frame size. So the original V2.0 was 250 cubed. This side frame, this is a V2.0 frame originally, was 250 cubed, or like 245 on the Z or something. It was pretty close. We've lost Z over the years because the tool head has gotten taller, but we haven't changed the frame size. So if you want to get 250 on the Z, when you order your frame, just order like, what, 20 or 30 millimeter longer Z extrusions and a little bit longer belt and a little bit longer rails, and you can get the height back. It's just we've never changed the frame size because everything's like upgradable. So the frame size is something we've never changed on the V2s. I'm gonna drop a Hemi in my, I'm gonna put a Hemi in it. EVA design. I haven't played with the EVA 3 yet. I know I'm not a huge fan of the EVA 2. A lot of parts and a lot of fragile parts. Like I don't like the way that it depends on the use case of the tool head. I don't like the way the EVA encapsulates the extrusion. Like, it goes all the way around the extrusion. So trying to run something like a drag chain, like how we have the drag chain set up on the V2 in the proper way, where you have a consistent bend radius, you can't really do that on an EVA because the entire extrusion is encapsulated. So you would have to have somewhere else for the drag chain to hang on versus just laying it on the extrusion like we do. In terms of the distance from the front out of the nozzle, it's about the same actually. So like how far the nozzle's sitting off the rail or the extrusion is roughly about the same. And the weight of the Stealth Burner, the center of mass, is actually pretty well centered because the motor is sitting pretty far back. Like, where is one? Do I have one out assembled somewhere? I might have thrown it out. Like, the Stealth Burner does stick out a lot into the front, but most of what's sticking out in the front here is literally just fan and plastic parts. Like, when you look at it from the side, most of the weight, the hot end itself, the extruder, and the motor is set back pretty far and it's vertical. So it's actually pretty well balanced. It just looks big because everything's in front, but it's mostly just fan and printed parts, which don't weigh that much. But it depends on how the printer is designed. You put an EVA in here, you can't go as far back, and you can't do the drag chains. One of my friends buy a Tronxy. I wanted him to buy him, but he refused. He loved it. Buy what you like. What about extruder? I don't think I've looked at that. Yeah, I've heard the EVA 3 is more, is a big upgrade. I haven't gotten around to it. I will be building a V-Core 3.1 200 at some point, so I'll take a look at it then. Oh yeah, the switch wire in the back, yeah. So like, you got the switch wire back here. And it, you know, this looks massive, but literally from like, there's all the weight. From here back is the weight. This big orange part right here that you see, this bright orange part, that is literally just, you know, a couple grams of printed plastic and some fans. Your stepper motor is right here, which is literally almost sitting above the carriage. So in terms of like center of gravity, it's pretty far back. EVA 3 heat set version. Oh, thank God they moved to heat sets. Nope, wrong button. Don't care about Timmy's ads. (4028) axial design. I don't know. I've never had an issue with part cooling on my stealth burners, so. And like, designed for what it's used for, stealth burner prints fine. If you want to, you know, throw an air blower, you know, a leaf blower on your tool head, go for it. It's designed for a package to fit in a use case. That is the biggest fan we could put in there reliably that doesn't affect, you know, the bounds of motion within the printer, because we don't change the frame size. So, I don't know. I've never had an issue with it. Anyone? Oh yeah. Oh, we're 3D printing. We have been in the realm of diminishing returns for ages with 3D printing. For ages. It's like water cooling. I watched a recent LTT video where he was talking about water cooling. He's like comparing like the very first generation of water cooling blocks that actually worked to like the most modern one now. We've dropped 7 degrees Celsius in terms of water cooling blocks. Like, it's all diminishing returns right now. Yeah, like looking at an EVA 3. This is a big tool head. Like, the thing is, you got all this hanging off the back here. Where in a Voron, you can't have any of this hanging off the back because that you run out of space. So it's like, the only difference is right here, this big empty area, we just have a fan. So your carriage, which is here, is here. Your extruder is still above your hot end in the same position. All we did, instead of the fan being back here, the fan fills this where there's plastic here, and you have a little bit more plastic in front. Like, and then in the dead space here, because we don't have to duct air through all this, is you got your probe, instead of having your probe hang off the side. Like, it all depends on the machine it's going on. Like, this has got some big chunky dual fans in the back. You can't do this on a Voron. You don't have the room for that. You would lose Y travel. It all depends on the machine it's going in and what your design constraints are. Like, if you want, you can do CPAP cooling in a Voron. People have done it. You could do that. If you want more cooling, go with a CPAP blower. But it depends on what the machine is going into and your design constraints with the machine. If you're building, like, you know, a bed flinger like this, you can go nuts with air cooling because you can shove whatever you want in front and behind it. Nothing matters. But on a Core XY, you're limited by travel distances. But yeah, the EVA, it fully encapsulates your extrusion. So you can't have drag chains like we have. You're limited. Yeah, Bird Air. Oh yeah, Bird Air and CPAP. Personally, I'm more a fan of CPAP over Bird Air because Bird Air is loud and annoying. But CPAP, I've seen those setups, and you just have the big chunky motor off the back, and you just run a tube to it, and you're fine. Like, personally, I'm not a huge fan of, like, I like this setup where the only thing you have is just the filament moving, especially where you got to worry about the X, Y, and Z motion. But on, you know, something like a Trident, where your gantry is fixed, you have a little bit more leeway with that. Try a blanket cooler. Well, the Bamboo has a blanket cooler. The Bamboo has blanket cooler. It's got the big fan on the side here for blanket cooling. The thing is, though, I print a lot of materials that don't need heavy cooling, like ABS. So all that insane air cooling means diddly squat for me. And I don't do speed benchies. So like really massive amounts of air cooling are if you print PLA fast or you do speed benchies. If you don't print PLA at stupid high speeds and you don't do speed benchies, massive air cooling is kind of overkill. Jake England, 2, cheers. And what do we have here? It's a machine printing a lucky cat. Let's speed it up. Can I speed it up? I cannot speed it up. I have no way. Oh, wait, maybe. 200%? Nope. Okay. This is what I got. I'm assuming the clock is time, and then I got 2 fans, and then Hotend. So I'm assuming flow, fan speeds, and speed. And speed I set to 200. But I'm assuming we are firmware limited. So by acceleration. So it ain't gonna be too much. Armchair engineering, best engineering. Of course. Like, I mean, we do have guys on the team that actually have engineering degrees that actually did flow simulations of air currents for the stealth burner. But somebody on the internet who read a Google page and knows what they're doing. Oh, the stealth burner is horrible at air cooling. Horrible. Throw in the bin. It's garbage. Fluid sims. What's that? Engineering degrees and years of environmental design and whatnot. What's that? It's doing 150 travels, so 150 millimeters travel, and it's looking like around 50 to 60 millimeters a second for the walls. So, have I tried stealth burners CW2? I haven't tried CW2 yet, but that has a stealth burner in it. That has a stealth burner in it, and my switch wire has a stealth burner in it, and they all print PLA just fine. Like, which ones have I don't know. Do I have any PLA prints on me? I cleared out a bunch of prints a while ago. I got, no, I got that. I don't know. Bender's stealth burner. Multi-material. They all print fine. I watched some YouTube video. I went on a Discord and some guy with an anime avatar. He knows what he took a picture of a screen cap, and with in MS Paint he showed how it's wrong. In Clipper, Z offset is distance from nozzle to bed or to probe. It depends. You have a Z offset from probe to nozzle, and you also have a Z offset from your limit switch to nozzle. So on a V2, there's going to be the one you are concerned about is the Z switch to nozzle, because that is your actual Z offset. I just wish the stealth burner wasn't stealth. I don't like the angle look, but meh. design choice. We got fancy RGB LEDs in there and NeoPixels. What is going on? Why am I getting pinged? Okay. Printing is a joy to assemble. It's a little heavy. Yeah, I don't chase grams on my 3D printers. Spec the right motors, run the right settings with your drivers, and find out what your actual machine safe limits are for speeds and feeds and accelerations and what's reliable. And you can sling around a heavy tool head just fine. And you don't have to worry about some lightweight extruder that cracks constantly or, you know, falls apart because you can't actually, it's not strong enough to handle running hundreds of hours in a hot environment. But it's heavy. But it works. Add Bluetooth. Just found your stream. I got a new Ender 3 Pro for $99 and I'm curious opinion on it. I originally wanted a Prusa Mini Plus, but the Ender was quite a deal. I'm new and want to keep it for the hobby. Okay, Ender. Extruder is crap. Hotend is crap. Going to a removable flex plate type system, maybe nice in the future, and get a bed probe because your bed will probably look like a Tony Hawk Pro Skater level after a couple heat cycles. But run it stock first, don't modify anything, and see if you have any issues, because the problem with a lot of the cheaper China market printers is quality control. So you might end up with a printer that works just fine and you don't have to do anything to it, or you might have a printer where you got to replace half of it to get a decent bedsheet out of it. Run it stock before you go modding the hell out of it, because if you go ask any other one with an Ender, they're going to tell you to mod the hell out of it. Run it stock first, see what works, see what might have issues, and then adjust your upgrades accordingly. And watch some YouTube videos. CHEP, C-H-E-P, Chuck Hellebuck's Electronic Products. Go to his YouTube channel. He's got a whole bunch of crap on Enders. Go learn. Go check him out. He's got a ton of videos on how to set up Enders, bed leveling, all that stuff. That's his thing. So go get yourself learned on Enders. And print it with its stock for a while before you go upgrading it. I installed dual Z on my Ender 3. Tilt calibrate is always out of sync. Not much. Normal or Warren screen screw or normal length. So are you running off the same Z motor? Which I'm assuming it is. If you could do something where you could belt them together, usually where you see dual Z, usually they're belted together so they don't come out of sync. One thing you can always do is just drive it into the top of the frame like a Prusa, and that will tram it out every time. But if they're constantly coming out of sync, it could be different stepper motors. It could be the way things are set up. One side has more slop than the other, and like on power off, one side's shifting and one's not. Separate motor, clipper, sync. Do you have a bed probe? Because if you run a bed probe, you could just do a gantry level or gantry tram across the two motors. So when it probes the bed, it'll adjust your motors accordingly and just then lock them together after. So I would look into, if you are running a bed probe, which you should be in today's day and age, set it up for gantry tramming. Kind of like how on the Voron, how we do the gantry tramming, or the Trident where it trams out the bed. You can do the same thing if you have 2 independent Z motors. So just do that, and it'll just fix itself every time. I bought an Ender 3 Pro with a Raspberry Pi for 75 pounds. Mark! I'm totally jelly because the Raspberry Pi is worth more than that. Yeah, Z Tilt Adjust. Go to the Klipper website. On the Klipper website, there's a section on here. We're gonna get you learning. Klipper.org. Okay, so you are gonna go to the Klipper GitHub. You're gonna go to config. Or no, that's not it. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let me find it first. No, where is it? Where is it? Configuration changes? No. Installation configuration reference. Oh, here you go. Configurations reference. There you go. So on here, configuration reference, Z tilt. Okay. You're gonna read this, or find another configuration from a printer that already has Z tilt and just copy and paste it, adjust accordingly. This is how you set up Z tilt. This feature enables independent adjustment of multiple Z steppers to adjust for tilt. This way, when you turn your printer on, even if if your Z screws get out of sync, when you do your bed probe, they'll adjust themselves so that they're trimmed, and then they lock together for the remainder of the printer being on, or the motors being on. So go follow this and get yourself learned and get it set up. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. One screw is new and the new motor has, the longer cable won't affect anything. One screw is new. Hopefully they're hopefully like one's not crazy worn out or something. Or you could do like a Prusa and just ram the gantry against the top. The sad thing is, I think that's still the policy on the XL. Hopefully they, I don't know. We'll see. We are the Z-axis ramming. If it's working, why not? Well, you know, if you're fine with, you know, crashing your printer, go for it. Like, as long as it can handle it, you know. When I park my car in the garage, I just keep driving forward till I hit the wall. That works, right? Just put a big bumper on your car. Losing my voice. You could tell I haven't streamed in a while. Not used to talking this much. I will say this print's coming out pretty good. Taking its time, but it's coming out pretty good. Attach tires to the wall. Hey, if it works, it works. Yellow bed spring on extruder. It's not a bed spring. Okay, so for those that don't know, the colors denote strength. These are like these kind of screws here, or these springs here, are actually like an industry standard type of spring. And the color of the spring denotes its strength. We use these in mold making. These springs, we use them all the time in mold making. Usually the ones we use are the blue springs, but they're usually used for like slides and springs in that regard. So this style of spring isn't, oh, yellow Ender 3 bed spring. This is actually like an industry standard type of spring. It's a flat spring. And it's used a lot in industry, and the different colors of the spring denote their strength. Yellow, I think red is the weakest, then yellow, then green, then blue. I used to know what it was, because we used them at work back in the day, and normally we used blue. Yeah, blues will be stiffer, yeah. I wish I had some. I used to have some from work because they were like crazy stiff. Aw, dang it, I'm running out of the candy that all the Czech people sent me. Grab some more. Bon Paris. Where's this from? Where's this stuff from? This is all stuff Sanity sent me a while ago. I still have the Haribo somewhere. They're buried under all the crap I have on this desk. You still have it? Yeah, I don't eat a lot of candy. I'm trying to be a little bit healthier. Ooh, these are good. These are good. Gonna get ants. Well, the bag's sealed. Our 6mm nozzles. 6mm is a very big nozzle. That's like 3 times bigger than the filament, so. Ooh, piece of candy. I will say, it's printing just fine. Motor isn't warm. Motor isn't warm. So the motors are pretty cool. It's quiet. Like, if you guys are wondering about the noise level, mute the music. Oh, turn the filters off. 1 second here. Okay, noise gate is off, and the music is off. So if you're curious about the noise, loudest thing on this printer is the fans, which is actually pretty common nowadays. It's moving at a decent speed. It's moving as fast as I would say you want a cantilever bed flinger doing. Then I test thermal runaway. I have not. There's no easy way to test it on this. Because there's no like quick connect I can pull on the outside. I'd have to unplug it from underneath while it's running. Is the motion system precise? It's an EMA 17s and 22 gears like every other 3D printer, so it's probably fine. How do I feel about the... So if you're, I talk about these, okay, so this has V wheels on the Z, but it's got these rollers. So these are metal curved bearings, and they're riding on rods that are inset in the extrusion, okay? So this setup is actually very similar to the Z setup in the V400, the FL Sun V400, where it has metal bearings, metal big chunky bearings riding on rods inset in the extrusions. Better than V-wheel. In my opinion, it's better than V-wheel. V-wheels. The V-wheels are a consumable item. They wear away. And they're rubber. Well, they're Delrin or whatever. I think this is a better motion system than V-wheel. V-wheel, in my opinion, is like one step above just sliding on the extrusion with like PLA. Like I don't look highly of V-wheel. Like it works, but in terms of like motion systems, it's bottom tier. Like in this case, you don't have to worry about the bearings wearing out because they're like 608s. They're proper bearings. Do you think we'll ever get rid of bed slingers? No. Why would we? It's a perfectly valid motion system. Big CNC machines that have beds capable of holding hundreds of thousands of pounds. Well, actually not hundreds, tens of thousands of pounds. Move the bed. As long as you design for it accordingly, they're fine. The thing is, it's very easy to scale it cheaply. So you've got your Ender 3, which is fine size for a bed flinger. And all you do is just get longer extrusions and longer belts. And now you got a CR10 XL 500 millimeters. But you're still running the same hardware and the same, you know, V-wheels and whatnot. Now, does that scale that big? Well, but it scales cheaply. Like 350 bed slingers, that's pushing it. Personally, I think 250 is like the sweet spot. 300 is about as big as I personally would go, but that's just me. Like you can go fine. It's just, you have to understand moving mass is moving mass. Now with stuff like Input Shaper, you can push them faster or you can just print slower and they're fine. But when you're printing, you know, a tall object like this, and it is on a bed moving back and forth, it can do that, right? It can wobble. So if your bed is not perfectly stiff and it can rock as you're printing fast, it can wobble when you get up high. You can get around that by having a stiffer motion system. You can get around that by running Input Shaper or equivalent. You can get around that by just printing slower. There are ways to have a big bed flinger that works good. Time, money, cost. Pick one. Thoughts on CAN bus? CAN bus is cool. I haven't done it yet though. I've got hardware for it and we'll be doing it on the salad fork. But yeah. Plus on a big bed flinger, the bed moves. So you need room in front and behind of the printer to move inside and outside of the bound. So yeah, it gets big, quick. But Phil R, thanks for the $4.99. But yeah, CAN bus is something we're going to be playing with on the salad fork build. It's cool. It allows you to simplify your wiring a lot because for like a tool head, like on a V2, where you got like 23 wires running to it, now you only need 4. Salad fork Saturdays, Swaz. I got bigger plans for upcoming Saturdays. Maybe. We'll see. Depends when it shows up. It's the future. Tridex, maybe in the future. I was considering converting the Trident to a Tridex, but I like the 350 bed. Now that I've actually used the bed 350 to print big things, I kind of want to keep the 350 bed because it's actually nice to have a 350 by 350 bed for some random stuff. Would CAN bus be silly on a V0? No, it'd be perfect because you can get where is it? Is it this one? No, no. Oh, here we go. Yeah, get the fly ship board. So on a V0, you get this guy. Damn it. Get this guy. Put it on the back of your extruder on the tool head, and then you only got to run 4 wires to your tool head. And everything else on the tool head plugs into this. Bada bing, bada boom. We're going to be using this on the salad fork. I don't know, the cat's looking pretty good, I think. Texas is pretty good. No Name Extra, $2. Cheers, thanks for the content. Thank you for enjoying the content. Both my 2.4s are umbilical CAN bus setups with LGX Lite. There you go. Design stealth burner so it can hold a CAN bus port. It already can. I'm pretty sure there's a board that goes on the side, if I'm not mistaken. The thing is, custom controller boards are something we don't design for. Because, let's be honest, Big Tree Tech and all these other board companies, they change their board designs every month. So we're not going to take the time to develop a board for a specific manufacturer or a tool head for a specific manufacturing board default, because you can't rely on that shit, because everyone changes their boards every month. Every board that's out there right now, probably you won't be able to get in 6 months, and they'll all be all different boards because of chip shortage and whatnot. So we don't design Vorons for specific hardware. Like, we do recommend like a controller board, like, you know, the Octopus is like the standard now. But in terms of like the tool head, the manual covers a standard wiring install. It doesn't cover like CAN bus boards and whatnot, because you just can't rely on a consistent brand, essentially. Have I decided on the colors for the salad fork? PC Blend Carbon Fiber Black Filament. And I think the extrusions are going to be silver, if I'm not mistaken. Screen and MCU over CAN? I don't know. Sounds like an opportunity for on standard. Well, I don't CAD, so it wouldn't be me. Like, there's also, you know, if you want to be, you know, super simple, like there's... They make a version of the board that literally just goes on the back of an EMA 17. Like, you just throw it on the back of an EMA 17. It's the same thing. So you would just throw this on the back of your current extruder and it would work just fine. And then you don't have the drag chains anymore. So this would be complete drop-in CAN bus, no issue, I think. You might have a little bit of issue with wire clearance in the back, but for the most part, it would be drop-in compatible. How's my... Oh, no, that's holding up. I've been downloading AliExpress invoices from 2021 at a time. TFH, that's insane. How's the bamboo? Bamboo's fine. I haven't printed with it because I just got back from vacation. But I gotta... Is it on? No, it's off. I'm gonna be printing some parts for the upcoming printer builds with it. So, no, the bamboo's fine. For an off-the-shelf CRUX Y, it's a great machine. Doing tax paperwork. Yeah, DFH. I'm pretty sure the U.S. government just hired a whole bunch of new TSA people, or IRS people. So you might want to cross your T's and dot your I's. Am I liking Reva Voron? I helped. I was on the committee group team skunk work project folks that helped design it. So yes, I like it. Might be ending the stream early just because I am hungry. We'll see. Are they shipping them now? They've started shipping them, the bamboos. People who did pre-order it have gotten theirs. I know Joel bought one. He got his. You know he has a review unit, so I guess he wanted another one. I didn't buy one. So this unit here was the one they sent me, and I'm keeping it because they've sent it to me and they didn't say anything else, so I'm keeping it. I like it. Now, the thing is, this is a machine you buy if you don't want to tinker with your printer. Straight up. If you want to fiddle with your printer, you do not buy the bamboo. But if you just want a fast CRUX Y and you just want to print and you're okay with a loud machine, because it is loud. I've said that many times. This is a loud machine, but it moves. It's a fine machine. Just don't put it in your bedroom. Yes, I will compare it to the monoprice cat. I don't think it's the exact same cat. Yeah, it's a different model. Got mine yesterday and it's working fine. Oh, that's good, Andrew. USB, you know, Clipper has a new USB cam bridge. I know, I just don't play with CAN bus, so I haven't really looked into it. So here's the thing with bamboo and Prusa, and I might do a video. I've said this many times on stream. If you were selling a $1,000 bed flinger right now, I'd be worried. Okay. Prusas have proven reliability. Prusas have proven support. Prusas just work. There's a reason people use Prusas for print farms, okay? So Prusa will always have that. They have the reputation. They have the, you know, people will always buy a Prusa because they are a Prusa. So they have that market, okay? The bamboo is a $9.99 printer or $11.49 for the carbon version. AMS is another upgrade. So it's in the $1,000 price range, okay? The FL Sun V400 is a very, very capable Delta that prints as fast as this guy for $800. It's a very capable machine. If you were somebody like Taz, Lulspot, selling the Sidekick for $1,000, which is a V-wheel bed flinger, which is this still 8-bit? I think it has TMCs without even a touchscreen, which is an upgrade option. I'd be worried because justifying one of those over one of those or a V400 is going to be very hard. It's going to be very hard. Do you have a place where it's no. Okay, so go use the stuff off the Voron GitHub. Okay, my macros and configs are butchered. My config for this V2.4 is completely butchered because it's based off a Duet config that's been hacked together over the years. This one is just the stock V2 config for LDO. To be fair, Lulzbot has been more expensive than their competition. And remember, Lulzbot is not Lulzbot. It's a wholly different company than Lulzbot from years ago. And the fact that they're still selling Taz's for like $3 grand when they're ancient hardware running 8-bit boards with DRVs or A498s or whatever the hell it is kind of weird and shouldn't be. Aiming at the educational market. Guess who sells to the educational market in the US now? Somebody who just bought Printed Solid. And oh, I would take a Bruce over a Lulzbot. Does the Sidekick have a 32-bit board? Configure now. So okay, so let's go here. Sidekick. Okay, so we got the Sidekick. So configure the Sidekick. We're gonna go with black. Now, do you want the 289, which is 6 by 6? Okay, so we'll do the cheapy one. 794. So with a SK, okay, we're gonna full configuration. Okay. Do you want a Hotend? Yes, we want a Hotend. So $195 for the base. What? $195 for a V6 tool head. What? $195 for a V6. Doesn't even tell you what extruder it is. Okay, we want a flex plate. $95 for this screen. Are you okay? So the GLCD, I don't know what the G is. Easy use digital interface, value, mobility, and convenience. $95. It's a 12864. It's a $16 screen, Canadian. Okay, filament runout sensor. Okay, I'll add that because it's a modern machine. So there you go, $1,135. What's in the box? What controller does this have? How do I see what controller it has? Store 3D printers. So the fact that a Taz Pro is $4 grand. Yes, I can't believe how much these are. What is the controller on this? Parts and specifications. Features. Okay, it's got a BL Touch. It's a legit one. Okay. Bed is 120. Okay. Runs Marlin. Okay. Doesn't tell you what drivers it has. Product brochure. Does it have TMCs? Print head, direct drive. Okay, it doesn't even tell you what extruder it has. Play, power, play operating systems, Marlin. It doesn't even tell you if it has TMCs. Does it have TMCs? Is this an 8-bit board with A498s? Like, check the build guide. Okay, that's a quick start guide. User guide. Introduction. Meet your sidekick. Okay. It looks like it has the extruder is just an old arrow. Okay, so there's the electronics enclosure. Yeah, it's an arrow. Safety. Setup guide. Packing. What's in the box? Okay. Everyone who runs TMCs advertises they run TMCs. Like, it doesn't tell you anything about the controller board. Oh, here we go. Here in the sidekick, so it's a USB-A. First print. Toolhead and accessories. I just want to know if it has TMCs. Tech specs. Okay, here we go. Toolhead, belt drive, open source, print head, direct drive. Okay. Filament diameter, build plate, slicing software. No. Maintenance. Troubleshooting. Warranty and support. It doesn't show anything. Store parts. Okay, let's see. Electronics, boards, and power supplies. Are they still running a mini Rambo? Sidekick LCD assembly, $100. Oh my god. Okay, so the only boards they have on here are Einzy Retro and the mini Rambo. So it might be 2130s if it's an Einzy Retro. Or if it's the mini Rambo, it's A49s. But I don't know which one it is. Rollspot Sidekick controller board. Einzy Retro. So it's got TMC 2130s at least. Oh. Yeah, Einzy Retro. It's running an Einzy Retro. So at least it's got 2130s, but like the problem is you look at that machine and that's the small one, which is more than this guy. How do you justify it? Not a review or anything, but just looking at the spec sheets and the price points, how do you justify that one over something like that? How slow is this Tronxy going? It's going pretty fast for a cantilever bed flinger, like compared to a Prusa Mini. Travels are doing 150, and it's printing the walls at it's looking like 60 millimeters a second for the walls. Support. Ultimaker has their niche. Ultimaker is a straight up business and educational printer manufacturer. They've got government contracts, they got school contracts. That's what keeps them afloat. They just merged with MakerBot so that there's less competition in that market. So they can, you know, why compete when you can just merge and make more money? Yeah. How is Taz's support? I don't know. I know Prusa's support is very good. So. Proudly made in the USA. I don't give a crap about that. I'm not American. I love how many times people, like, I'm not saying you're doing it, but the amount of times people have said, oh, you gotta support Buy American. I'm like, I'm not American. If it says made in America or made in China, it makes no difference to me. I really don't care. I care about the product, the price, and is it good or not. Prusa Mini can print pretty fast, but you put your chameleon in an extruder, which I not keep up. Yeah, I know. I gotta check on that. Some of the U.S. military. I've seen videos. Like, I know Molesbot had some government contracts. I know that. And I met the founder of PrinterBot. He's a nice dude. But yeah, Voron Design was originally MZBot. Okay, it was a company that sold 3D printers. They sold one, and then Max realized, holy shit, this is a horrible idea, and dumped the company and went open source, because trying to run a printer company in the Bay Area is a horrible idea. Sold like 19 kits. The original Voron kits for the V1.0, he sold 18 of them. And he sold one V24 that he actually has back now. So if you're after collecting, doing the Pokemon thing and collecting all the Voron cereals, okay, technically V24 is like Mew, okay? It exists, but you don't need to get a V24 cereal to catch them all, because nobody can get a V24. There's one. There's only one. So only one person has a V24 serial number, okay? But if you want to catch them all, you got to build a Legacy, a V0, a Trident, or a V1, because they're the same serial number path, a V2, a Switchwire, and a VK. And that's the problem. There are no more VKs. There's 18 of them. That's it. Because there was only ever 18 of them. Because if you self-source the V1 build, you got a V1 serial. The VKs are the VKs, the Voron kits. And there's only 18 of them. So if you want to catch them all, you have to hunt down a VK to get a VK serial number. And there's only 18 of them. So if you're one of those who wants to collect all the Voron kits, or gets a serial number for all the Vorons, you have to hunt down a VK. Which there were 18 of them, and they were all sold 5 years ago plus. So VK stream win. Well, the problem is they don't exist anymore. Like I could build a V1, but that's a V1. I already have a V1 serial. There's a V1 right there. It's called Toasty Boy. It's a V1.8. So go on the Voron Reddit, see who has the VK serial numbers on the sidebar, and start messaging people if you want to get them all. And a V24. V24 is like Pokemon. It's like Mew from Pokemon. You don't have to get it to complete your Pokedex. It exists, but it's not a realistic goal, because there's only one in existence and there will only ever be one. Haven't even bothered to get a serial. I haven't got a serial for my Micron yet, and I haven't got a serial for the LDO V2 yet. Ooh. So we've got, how much time left? We got like 10 minutes left in the stream. So if you haven't entered for your chance to win some filament from Polymaker, link in the description. Go enter. Get your chance to win. The numbers only go up so high. Is there a list somewhere else? Yes, we do keep a list. I don't know where it's at right now, but there is a list. Is the Micron? No, the Micron gets a V2 serial. The Micron is a V2. What type of mini printers are you liking the most? I really like the KP3S. The Micron was a fun build, although they need to come up with a new version of the Micron that's simplified. The current Micron, the fact that it has a third more parts in the BOM than a Voron V2, they need to fix that. That's my one gripe on the V-Minion. I mean, the V-Minion itself, great printer, needs to be simplified. There are too many parts to it, too many individual parts to it. Micron's fun, although build a bigger one. I'm looking forward to the salad fork. That will be fun. Gonna build for a positron. When there's a kit, I'll build one. V-Minion or Micron. If you don't plan on enclosing V-Minion, if you do want to enclose it, Micron. And build a bigger Micron. Don't build the 120 Micron. While the 120 Micron is cute, build like a 180 Micron. It's much more practical. Yeah, Sandy, I meant V-Minion, not Micron. Too many little printers. Why don't they make hammer nuts for 15? Because the slot in the extrusion is exactly 3 millimeters. So you literally can't put a screw in there that can, or you can't put a hammerhead that will pivot and screw in. It won't work. There's not enough room. But let me find it here because LDO sent me some goodies a while ago. Where are they? Are they in here? Are they in here? No, that's... Jeez, Jason. Jason sent me a whole bunch of goodies a while ago. What's in this box? Yeah. Because for some reason they had these and LDO sent them to me. Slide in nuts for 50-15 extrusions. So they're not hammerheads, but they are slide in nuts for 50-15 extrusions. So they're not as crappy as the M3 nuts. So I'm going to be using these on the salad fork. Yeah, the 50-15 nuts. KB3D, hello. Have I tested a new controller board from Big Tree Tech? Nope. Reviewing controller boards currently is, in my opinion, kind of pointless. Here is the spec sheet. That's all there is to it. It's 32 bits, it's TMC drivers. This is what you can hook up to it. This is what it supports. Beyond that, who cares? Like, the form factor is different, so buy whichever one fits for the printer you're going to put it in terms of how many drivers you need, how many hot ends you need, what it supports, what kind of hot or thermistors, how big it is. Can you? Ooh, some of them you can plug a Raspberry Pi directly on now. That's cool, but that doesn't change performance at all. And who cares? Because in 6 months it won't be available because they'll have a different model because the MCU is no longer available. So reviewing controller boards right now is pointless in my opinion. Yeah, it's like reviewing a computer motherboard nowadays. It don't matter. Buy whatever one is in your price range that fits what you need it to do from a brand that's decent. Because especially with Clipper, it don't matter. You could throw a ramps in it and push the speeds that my Vorons print. just fine with a ramps if you really wanted to, because Clipper don't care. How can you connect a Pi to a controller board when you can't buy a Pi? You get the time machine, you go back in time and buy Pis when they were available. Where would one source a salad fork kit? DFH? Deepfriedhero.in. I don't know if he's selling kits though, or if he just like throwing a bunch of parts in a box for me or not. I don't know. Okay, so you got 7 minutes to enter for the draw, and then I'm gonna do the draw, and then we're gonna end the stream because I gotta go pick up the little guy. Oh, he's doing kits. Okay, he's doing kits. There you go. So let's see, what do we got here? Slicing based on image, cool. Cool. Tronxy, intelligent print for you. Due to the difference between different models, the physical objects and final images can differ. Cool. Throwing a bunch of parts in a box and calling it a kit. Bomb in a box. You can run Octoprint on x86 computers too. You can get a cheap thin client, substitute for a Pi. Yep. Pretty much anything that can run Linux, you can run like Clipper on, for example. Andy B, $5. Cheers. Finished my LDO 2.4, starting in LDO 01. Nice. Thanks for all your content. Cheers. Hope it helped. Should I use Capricorn tube in a direct drive? Nope, no point. No point. The snake oil with the cap tube is most tubing is 2mm ID. Capricorn tubing is 1.9mm ID. So on a Bowden setup, there's less like play and slop in the Bowden tube. So apparently your extrusions will be more accurate. I had a machine that ran cheapo Filippo, off the shelf tubing, and then I swapped it to cap tubing. The machine ran Bowden. This was back in the day. I couldn't tell the difference on my prints. I printed something exactly same G code immediately after swapping. I couldn't tell the difference. But on a direct feed setup, it does not matter. In fact, cap tubing, I would say don't do cap tubing on the little bit from the direct drive extruder down to the hot end, because if you're going to take filament out and you get a little bulb, it's more likely to get caught because the filament path is so short. A 0.1mm difference in ID of the Bowden tube and over this much distance, it ain't shit. It ain't gonna do anything. It's the only dude that can stream about 3D printing for hours and not be boring. I can? Well, that's good. Giving up converting my Ender 3 to switch wire because of price and availability of Pis. Oof, that sucks. You can use something like, even if you have like an old Pi 0, that'll work. Capricorn tubing, yeah, it is stiffer. Like in terms of like over a long Bowden run, if your Bowden tube droops a lot, cap tube might be a little bit better because it is better material, but it's still PTFE tube. I bought some knockoff triangle. I did too. It took like 3 months to show up. That was years ago though. Let's say I burn the tube in the direct. Yes, why are you burning your cap tube? You should not be burning your cap tube. If you are running a not all metal hot heat break, get an all metal heat break. You should not be burning your cap tube. That is bad. That is Teflon. That is cancer. I'm not really DE to Euro. Cheers. Tiny T or Micron? Micron. Tiny T is not a separate printer, if I'm not mistaken. If it's the one I'm thinking of, printers for hands. Let me see here. Yeah, Tiny T is literally just a trident. Last time I looked at it, at least, that if you go to printers, trident, configurator, direct feed, whatever, line joints, sure, and custom size it. And do this. That's a Tiny T. This is the bomb for a Tiny T. So I don't think it's a separate printer. This is literally just a trident scaled down, although it does use the mini stealth burner. So actually it might be different. Yeah, 2020 extrusion. Yeah, it's using 2020. So I think the only difference is it's yeah, let's see. Let me check here. Show where the extrusions. So it's what? It's 220, 400, 220, 400, 220, 425, 220, 270, 270. Yeah, I think it's the same extrusions. 230 and 140, 230, 140. Yeah, so it's the only difference. The Tiny T is a small trident that uses a mini stealth burner. That's the only difference. So I would just go with a full-size stealth burner, personally. But or salad fork. 2020 is the Lord's extrusion size. 5015 is day, but 5015 is a major pain in the ass. Okay, we're gonna do the draw in 1 minute. If you have not entered for your chance to win some filament from Polymaker, we give away a spool filament, Polymaker filament every stream. So if you didn't enter, you can enter Friday, or you have like 1 minute, less than a minute to enter. Oh, no, you can't enter anymore. 5 o'clock. Okay, close. Create spreadsheet. And as usual, when this print finishes, I will post a picture on my Twitter. So if you're not following me on, oops, drop my mouse. If you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter at 3DPNero on Twitter. Follow me there. If you haven't joined the community Discord, I don't think there's a link in the description of this video, but there's a link in the description of a previous video. So, or live stream. Go join the community Discord. We have lots of fun. Should be a community post about it. I don't have the link posted everywhere because of bots. I don't want the link everywhere out there because bots are evil. I'm trying to avoid it. I'm already an admin of a 30,000 person Discord already. I don't want to do more work. Okay. So how much time is left on this print? 3 hours and 31 minutes. And we're 2 hours and 3 minutes in. Okay, I need a number between 1 and 6. In H3D, you're disqualified. 1 and 6. Give me a number between 1 and 6. 6. You're disqualified, NH3D. You said it twice. 2. That was the next one. 1, 2. Let's spin the wheel. Holy hell, I'm losing my voice. Okay, the winner of a spool of filament from Polymaker is Kenneth Ferguson. Congratulations, Kenneth. Claps in chat. Everyone clap in chat. Let me grab your information here. Okay, so you will get an email from me after the stream ends. Fill out a form. You can get some filament. It'll show up in a couple days to a couple weeks, depending on where you live in the world. Go. Golf clap. Golf clap. Okay. So that is the end of the stream. Again, I'll post a picture of our little friend here on my Twitter once the kitty cat is done printing. Shout out to Tronxy for sending this printer for a review. I don't know if I'll do a full review on it or if it'll just be the feature on the stream here, but initial impressions, seems pretty well built. It's quiet. It works. Extruder could be better. but it does seem like a solid, cheap entry-level machine. Just initial impressions. Again, we've only done one print on it. I do like the PI though. That is nice. Holds well enough. So yeah. So thank you, Tronxy, for sending the printer. Again, rules English. Views and opinions are my own, not paid. You know how it is. Usual disclosure. Can't wait for your review on the insert generic bed slinger here. It prints okay, but it's a shitty bed slinger. The end. So yeah, so I will see you Friday for wiring chill while we get the LDO V2 back up and running, and then we'll start printing some parts for the Death Racer and the Salad Fork and Disclosure printer. Yeah. Thank you, Polymaker, for the spool filament that we gave away. Thank you guys for waiting around while I was on vacation there. No content. Well, I did have a video. If you haven't watched my video, go watch my video. It's not doing good, but I knew it wouldn't do good because none of my videos ever do good. So go watch my video if you haven't. Share it or something. I don't know. Ring the bell. Like the smash button. YouTube algorithmic stuff. Go! Do the thing, guys. I'm tired. I'm gonna go pick up the little guy from daycare. For those that donate to the stream, you're awesome. For those that became members of the channel or gifted memberships, you're awesome too. I would not be able to do the things I do, create the content I create, without your continued support. You make this all possible. For those that watch the stream, hope you had some fun. Hope you learned something new. It is Tuesday, unfortunately. Still got the rest of the week to go. So be safe out there. Wash your hands. Enjoy the rest of your week. See you Friday. Cheers.